Extra, we're bringing you a first alert for the chance of scattered showers and storms on Saturday. We have those details and the timing on potential hazards we could see coming up.
And we take you to the skies as we talk about hurricane hunters and why they're important during the hurricane season.
Plus, we talk about how too much rain could bring trouble to your yard.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Yeah, that sort of looked like trouble.
It did.
Yeah, a little messy.
Like, those look a little furry. Fuzzy, furry. They just didn't look like a good time.
Hey, listen, thanks you so much for staying with us here for Weather Extra. Big weekend coming up, and I know you're probably thinking you want to do a little yard work, get outdoors.
Yeah.
Saturdays may not be the day.
Yeah, it's iffy
Maybe
tomorrow.
hold off.
It's
Just give
iffy.
yourself
Yeah.
a break.
Yeah.
A good excuse, exactly, to take it easy tomorrow. But we do have higher rain chances, and that ground's going to be a little soggy out there in some areas. Could see over 1.5 inches of rain in some areas by lunchtime tomorrow. Let's talk about it. Next big thing is rain, and it's already moving in out there. This is light rain, though. This is not heavy stuff. As you can tell, you can look at the legend there at the top of the screen. It's just light precipitation, but it's enough to wet those roadways. Light showers that's going to continue to build in here from the west direction to the north into Double Springs and into parts of Walker County now around Jasper, seeing some of that rain. But this is that initial wave. All this is just going to slowly wrap in here tonight, and it's going to stay unsettled through tonight and throughout the morning hours tomorrow. Good chance that we could have some storms around past midnight and into early tomorrow morning. But there's a look closer to Birmingham, Hoover areas, and I just wanted to zoom in. We have City Fest happening here in Alabaster out at Thompson High School tomorrow, and I know a lot of folks are out there setting up right now, and you can see there is a little pocket of rain starting to lift in. There's Pelham, so some rain moving in, but thankfully with this we don't have severe wind gusts. It's just light rain that's moving in at the moment. We've had some pockets. I mentioned Double Springs a few moments ago. Some of this wet weather was pushing through near Brilliant and Hamilton, Winfield. There's north of Fayette. This is around Hubbardsville. You can see right there our friends around Hubbardsville, a little downpour. Might get a rumble of thunder out of this as this moves north. You can see there's Fowler's Crossroads, and that's right there around Sidstew Road and areas there to the north. Let's go south to Tuscaloosa, some light showers. Yeah, nothing too extreme here. You can see from Coaling all the way from Cottondale back to Coker and across Tuscaloosa area, but showers also now working into Greene and Hale counties. East Alabama, not seeing a lot happening. Gadsden, Talladega, we've enjoyed some nice kind of crisp mornings out there, but what's going to change? It's going to start to feel more humid for us here in East Alabama, but some of this rain is going to reach us later on tonight. The entire area will see a good coverage by lunchtime tomorrow, at least a little bit of wet weather, scattered showers and storms, and all this is wrapping in. You can see a disturbance. There's a swirl back in here. That's going to bring all this wet weather through tonight and tomorrow morning. Can't rule out a severe storm. This is what the forecast data looks like for 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you just kind of get the idea coverage-wise. The first part of the day, I went greatest coverage 4 a.m. to lunchtime. Greatest coverage first part of the day, rain and storms. Again, maybe a strong to severe storm, but the afternoon, what happens is we catch some breaks, but it looks like we might get some redevelopment. We might start to see some pop-ups again back to the west if the temperatures are able to recover. That's the big question. As long as we stay a little bit cooler, that will help to limit that coverage there by tomorrow evening. But Sunday, we do have a chance of rain, and also on Monday, we'll talk more about the rest of the weekend and next week coming up in First Alert Weather Extra. And also, as we move ahead tomorrow, I mentioned it's the start of meteorological summer, but it is also the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, and that's why we're checking in right now with meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Lauren, we're talking about it being an active season. I know the first name's Alberto, but we don't want to hear about Alberto just yet.
No, we don't want to hear about Alberto, and we don't want to have a season where we end up getting into the Greek alphabet, because that has certainly happened before in more active seasons. But this is the most active season on record that has ever been in a May forecast from the National Hurricane Center and NOAA. So what are the chances we could see an above average season? An 85% chance the season could be above average, only a 10% chance it could be near normal, and just a 5% chance it could be below normal. So this is the official outlook from NOAA. On average, during a typical hurricane season, you get 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. That's category 3 or higher. But this is what they're calling for in their May forecast forecast: 17 to 25 named storms, 8 to 13 hurricanes, and 4 to 7 major hurricanes. Now, Colorado State also has some tropical researchers who also submit a hurricane outlook, and this is what they did back in April, again showing above average activity and likely a higher number than you would see on average during a typical season. So why are they doing this? Well, what is the science behind the forecast? You've probably heard us talking a lot this past winter about an El Nino being in place, but now we're transitioning from El Nino to La Nina conditions. You've got that, but also above average ocean heat content. So what is La Nina? La Nina is a teleconnection, just like El Nino. Well, what's a teleconnection? It means what happens in the ocean in one part of the world can affect the ocean and weather in another part of the world as well. So what we're beginning to see is below average sea surface temperatures off of the west coast of South America, thanks to stronger trade winds. Even though that's happening in the Pacific Ocean, what that can do in the Atlantic Basin is cause less wind shear. Wind shear is a change in wind speed or direction with height. So if you don't have a change in wind shear, it's less of a change. Hurricanes like that because less wind shear means they can get more organized. But we also talked about that above average ocean heat content. Temperatures are well in the 80s through the Gulf, the Caribbean. We are seeing a little bit of cooler water in the Atlantic, but certainly want to watch the Gulf and Caribbean. Here are the names for the upcoming season. Like Wes said, we don't even want to see Alberto, much less the other ones, but we'll be keeping a close eye on it here in the First Alert Weather Center as always. But with the Atlantic hurricane season beginning tomorrow, we're taking a behind the scenes look into a name you may hear often throughout the season: the Hurricane Hunters. Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell joins us from Miami with a sneak peek into their life-saving operation.
Well, believe it or not, the Hurricane Hunters started off as a barroom dare back in 1943. This was between two different Army Air Corps pilots daring each other to fly through a hurricane. Well, today it's transformed into an operation, giving us more information on these storms before they hit land to better warn the public. While some of you may have rode out a storm, could you imagine being mid-air inside of one?
From day to day and flight to flight, they could vary from the worst rickety old roller coaster you've ever been on to just like going down a slightly bumpy dirt road.
Christopher Wood pilots the P-3 aircrafts. This one, named Kermit, is one of two operated by NOAA. The Air Force Reserve has 10 C-130s as well. The Chief Aerial Reconnaissance at the National Hurricane Center could send multiple Hurricane Hunter aircrafts into storms to get data to better forecast storm intensity and track. NOAA engineer Nick Underwood gave us a tour of the P-3.
So it's a flying research laboratory. We've got 3 radar systems on board, one in the nose, one in that M&M looking fairing on the bottom of the plane, and then one in the radome sticking off the back.
Flying at about 10,000 feet, a typical mission lasts 8 hours or more with about 15 crew members.
This station is where we'll launch instruments out of the aircraft. And so typically an operator like myself will sit here, and as we're flying through the storm, we're launching dropsons, effectively a weather balloon in reverse. And so we'll drop these out of the aircraft. They have a parachute that deploys, and as they're floating down, they're collecting temperature, pressure, humidity, wind speed, and wind direction data.
Data is sent in real time to the National Hurricane Center into forecast models. We made our way through all the workspaces to the flight station where the pilots and engineer work. Going into his 8th season, I had to get Nick's take on what the ride is like.
There's a lot of vibration. You can get tossed around pretty good. There's wind and rain slapping against all of the windows. Once you get in the eye of the storm, it's calm again, so you get a little reprieve, but then you have to go right back out through the nastiness.
And the same goes for the crew of about 5 on the C-130s.
And our partners at the Air Force 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron have their C-130s. And so they do a lot of the same mission that this aircraft does. We just have a little bit more research capability than they do with our extra radar systems and things like that.
Meanwhile, NOAA's G4 soars up to 45,000 feet, going above and around storms, releasing dropsons collecting details of the atmosphere in and around storms. So what would hurricane season be like without these aircrafts? Pilot Wood says data from these flights increased forecasts by 10 to 20%.
When you're making the decisions whether you're going to evacuate your home, if you need to go and buy supplies and stock up, 10 to 20% is a really large margin. It's really important for you to make those decisions. Without these aircraft, we would be much more uncertain on what the storms are going to do.
And they continue to work on new ways to get better data.
We have new dropsons that are able to stay aloft a little bit longer, collect a little bit more
We
data.
are actively working to test and develop a variety of different drones that will be able to collect information in some of the boundary layers that are unsafe for manned aircraft to actually fly.
Now take a look at this. This is a flight path example of a P-3 aircraft going into a storm from St. Croix. Their goal is to locate the center of the storm and then sample every quadrant of it. Now the pattern won't always stay the same, but depends on the size, shape, and movement of the storm. In Miami, I'm Brandy Campbell, Fox Weather.
Wow, great information there. Coming up on First Alert Weather Extra, we check in with Tania Michelle as we head towards the weekend and then eventually look beyond a 7-day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back in, everyone. Meteorologist Tania Michelle here. Do you have plans this weekend? Maybe you're going to be heading out to the Alabaster City Fest. Here's a look at that hour-by-hour forecast. Greatest rain and storm chance for Shelby County is really going to be in the morning. Just around lunchtime, we should see some breaks in those showers and storms. Temperatures for your Saturday warming up into the upper 80s. By 11 p.m., closer to the end of the event, temperatures in the low 70s. So temps will not be a problem if you're heading outdoors, but you will want to pack that umbrella and rain jacket. And Alabaster City Fest is at Thompson High School. But maybe you're not going to be in Alabaster. Maybe you're heading to Gordo in Pickens County. This is tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. The start of this event could be very messy, so grab the umbrella, grab that rain jacket. As we approach the afternoon, we should see more on and off rain chances, so not as long durations of just heavy rainfall pouring down. But whether you're heading here, Alabaster, or anywhere tomorrow morning, pack that umbrella and rain jacket because we will see that heavy rain pushing through for the early morning. And check this out. Severe storms moving through Texas brought double tornadoes that could be seen from the Midland International Airport. Travelers were temporarily moved to the basement. This comes after the National Weather Service had to issue its first ever tornado emergency in West Texas. There was no word of damages or injuries in that area, but at least one person was injured in the city of Odessa. And northern Texas still cleaning up today after 95-mile-per-hour winds on Thursday brought trees on top of power lines and into homes. The city of Dallas has set up a debris removal team to clear those roads so crews can access those downed power lines. Officials are asking residents to dial 311 to report any downed trees and debris on those roadways. They're also wanting all tree debris moved to the side of the street while allowing tree debris pickup services to handle this over the next 2 weeks. And around the world, now to Iceland, where that volcano continues to erupt. As nearby towns continue to be threatened, activity isn't as significant as the first day. Wednesday's eruption was the most powerful it's been in nearly 800 years. It also called for the evacuation of the Blue Lagoon outdoor spa, which is a major tourist attraction. Well, don't go anywhere. You know we have that full 7-day forecast for you. Plus, we take you beyond the 7-day. We'll be right back. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Getting you ready for the weekend here, making those big plans. We're going to have some wet weather here, at least for the start of the weekend. A pretty good chance. Already some showers out there. Now, when we go actually look at the ground level scans here from First Alert AccuTrack radar, you can see it's very, very light rain, but some of these showers just gradually starting to moisten up out there. The humidity is going to increase. It's going to feel more soupy overnight tomorrow and into the day on Sunday. But this is all light showers. At least we don't have any severe storms right on the map. And the model data showing that some pockets of heavier rain could start to work in here later tonight. We have this disturbance that's moving in. Notice by midnight, we're showing a good coverage here. Fayette, Hamilton, Jasper, back to Tuscaloosa. Notice some of that rain now pushing in around, even though we have some light showers, some heavier pockets around Birmingham, Jefferson, and the Shelby counties there, and back in towards Chilton County as well. But East Alabama, I think after midnight, we'll start to see some of that rain work in here. Notice tomorrow morning, I put the greatest coverage across the entire area from 4 o'clock until around lunchtime tomorrow. But you can see some pockets of heavier rain in the morning, early in the day, and probably some loud rumbles out there. So be prepared for that possibility. At First Alert, some storms, some gusty winds that's going to move on through. And the thing is with a lot of this rain coming in during the morning, notice lunchtime, we start to see some breaks back in here. So you get these morning rounds of rain and storms that can kind of take some of that energy out of the atmosphere. So as far as any severe weather later in the day, the good news is that would help lessen that risk. If those temperatures are able to rebound, we're able to modify later in the day, we could see some redevelopment. But you'll notice how this one model, again, this is just model data, but it suggests that where we heat up and those temperatures recover to the west, you can see it's picking up on some of that redevelopment right there, scattered storms. So even though we're talking about the greatest chance for rain early in the day, still need to watch out for the late afternoon and evening for some isolated storms, especially across the western part of the state. But tomorrow night, overnight, things should lessen up as far as any the coverage of rainfall. But I still think Sunday, as we go into the day there's a look at lunchtime Sunday, you can see that we will have some breaks, but that chance for scattered storms will be in the forecast. But rain likely tomorrow, especially early in the day. First alert for storms. Some of those could be severe. Could see a strong storm pop up again Sunday, but I still see plenty of breaks, not a total washout. Monday and Tuesday during this time frame could have some storm impacts, but there's a front that's going to move south next week around Wednesday and Thursday. Could have some intense storms there and some severe weather possible, so we will need to stay weather alert there for the middle of next week. You can see that rain chance around 60%. Live look on the Gulf Coast, Panama City. We're talking about hurricane season, and as we well, let me go back there. As we look at our camera from Panama City, you can see there 87 degrees, and the Gulf Coast forecast showing that rain chance as we move ahead through Monday and Tuesday backing off. But Tania, I wanted to show that because, you know, no tropical systems expected at this time, but we will be watching also along the Gulf Coast for some of those rain chances this weekend.
Oh yeah, listen, if people have plans to head down to the beach this weekend, Wes, maybe not you, but anyone, you want to be careful because there will likely be some showers and storms around, especially for your Saturday. But let's talk about beyond the 7 days, 6 to 10 days out from now, as we bring in June 6th through the 10th. Majority of the U.S. still going to be dealing with those above average temperatures, but us across central Alabama could be seeing some slightly cooler temps than average. But notice the Gulf Coast still going to be dealing with some hot conditions. This doesn't mean we won't be hot, guys. This just means on average we could be a few degrees cooler, and that just all depends on whether a front is moving through. We could be a lot more wetter with rain and storms, and next week does look a little stormy. But as we look at our 6 to 10 day rainfall outlook, we're actually going to be seeing more near average rainfall across the U.S. Maybe some below average rainfall for our north states across the United States, more above average for parts of Texas and the south central states. But us across Alabama, June 6th through June 10th, more near average as far as rainfall. Now, does that mean we won't see rain, or will we see a lot? Well, not really. This is just an average of what typically happens around this time of the year. And when we say average, we're saying that this is what the prediction is, but things can and possibly will change. But looking towards Minneapolis, because they have seen over 5 inches of rain in 28 days, making one of the wettest months in years. It's good for lawns though, but as Adam Duxter reports, grass isn't the only thing that's sprouting.
Through a sea of green.
When we're this wet, they're gonna, put out spores.
Aaron Johnson is trained to spot what doesn't belong.
New things are popping up, whether that be weeds or diseases, and we've got some other stuff going on.
More than 5 inches of rain in 28 days, making this month one of the wettest since 2020.
And we're seeing some more mushrooms growing in that
The
area.
BioLawn partner says the conditions just right.
Those mushrooms have been, or the fungus that produce them have been dormant for a couple years now, waiting for moisture, waiting for the ideal conditions.
And across the metro,
We've had reports of dead man's fingers this spring.
mushrooms.
And then you're going to see a lot of really brown, small, inconspicuous ones.
So should a reporter with an Aussie puppy and a few shrooms of his own be worried?
The rain this spring has been fantastic. We're seeing,
Horticulturists like Kate Ryan say you should always be careful.
I would really make sure that anything you're consuming, you are properly identifying it.
And when in doubt, just pull it.
Avoid it all, right? Don't let your dogs consume plants or or mushrooms, right? Don't let your kids eat the plants or the mushrooms in the lawn.
And pray the rain keeps coming.
Yeah, I don't think we're planning on it though, right? I think what we're doing every day is saying, what is the weather today? How do we adapt?
Well, we, of course, are going to have more right here on First Alert Weather Extra. And we're going to bring you something extra. When we come back, we'll be sharing some of those viewer photos. Stay with us.
All right, time for viewer photos, and some nice photos in this week. And all the rain, it's held off for most of the week, but we've had some lovely views.
Yeah,
Look at these sunset pictures. Go
Sharon
ahead,
Gill, that first picture, by the way, was Lay Lake. This is Lisa Nelson, sunset over Coleman.
And another one from Emma Hall, sunset over Mentone. Ooh, pretty, pretty.
That's really pretty. Love these good sunrise and sunset photos. Sometimes even having a storm around sunset helps. But this one coming in from West Blockton from Andrea Colburn. If you have your own photos, which I know it's going to be stormy over the weekend, as long as you're not standing outside and doing it while there's a ton of lightning around, we would love to see your photos. Submit them on the app.
That last one was giving more like October.
It
Halloween
was
vibes.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little
Spooky season.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, this year's going by so fast.
It's going to be here
I
before you know
can't believe
it.
tomorrow was June 1st. It's only a few months away from Halloween.
And
Oh.
tomorrow's the start of hurricane
You know, the way
season.
summer, it seems like you get to the 4th of July and then you're talking about football, then you're talking about back to school
yeah.
after that point. But hey, enjoy it. Enjoy the break this weekend. Watch the weather, some scattered storms tomorrow morning, and also the afternoon, maybe some breaks out there.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Have a great evening. We'll
See you
catch you
tonight.
back here tonight. Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Whew. Let's do it in 3, 2. Hey there, everyone. First Alert meteorologist Tania Michelle here with that 7-day forecast. We have a rain chance every single day on our 7-day, guys, but let me break this down for you. As we bring in your weekend, we'll see the greatest chance for showers and storms for the first half of your Saturday, more scattered by the afternoon and evening. Temperature Saturday, low 80s, overnight temps pretty warm, mild to warm, upper 60s. We bring in your Sunday with more scattered showers and storms in the forecast. I just want to tell you also, this weekend kicks off the start of hurricane season. So just a little tidbit there. Next week, we'll see on and off rain and storm chances, but the big story next week are those rising humidity levels. So those feel-like temperatures will likely be a little bit higher. It's going to feel hotter, but not only just hotter, it's going to feel more sticky as you're outside. We will see a first alert for storms around as another cold front tries to push through Wednesday and Thursday. Keep checking in for updates on the timing of that next storm chance as we bring in the middle to the end of next week. We'll also give you forecast updates on WBRC Fox 6 News and on our First Alert Weather app that you can get by scanning that QR code in the top corner of the screen.